When you live alone as an older adult, you start to notice things no one ever warned you about. Not just the silence, but the small decisions that begin to shape your days more than you'd expect. The things you once brushed off now carry more weight, and sometimes that weight turns into a quiet danger. But this isn't about scaring you. This is about truth. The kind of truth we wish someone had told us a little sooner. It starts with the simplest mistake. A hallway light bulb burns out. You tell yourself you'll fix it tomorrow, but then you forget, or your hip aches, or you just don't feel like getting the step stool. You live in the dark for a day, then two, then a week. And that's how Ruth, who was 78 and stubborn as a tree stump, fell. Missed one step in the shadows. She broke her wrist, spent 6 weeks with a cast, and had to ask for help with everything. Her pride hurt more than her bones. She later said, "It wasn't the stairs, it was me thinking I could still do it all." Which brings us to the next hidden trap, pretending you're okay. When someone calls, you say, "I'm fine," even when the fridge is nearly empty and the thought of driving to the store feels like climbing a mountain, even when your back's been hurting for 3 days, but you don't want to bother your daughter. But hiding struggles doesn't protect your independence. It slowly erodes it. And when something finally gives, it gives hard. Ruth learned that too. Now let's talk about your voice. You'd be surprised how easy it is to stop using it. You go all day without speaking, especially if no one visits and you don't pick up the phone. You might not notice it right away, but over time your vocal cords weaken. Your breath shortens. Even your ability to call for help can slip away. My neighbor Roger started reading the newspaper out loud every morning, just to keep his voice strong. He said he liked hearing himself talk. It reminded him he still had something to say. Another thing you shouldn't ignore? Eating poorly. It doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in. A frozen dinner here. Crackers and cheese for lunch. Toast and tea for dinner. When you're not cooking for anyone but yourself, it's easy to stop caring. But that's exactly how malnutrition settles in. It's not about weight loss. It's about strength, balance, energy. Roger made a deal with himself. 3 times a week he cooked something from scratch. It didn't have to be fancy, just real. Real food, real effort, real care. Here's a big one people forget. Routine visibility. If you live alone, someone should know your patterns. When you wake up, when you check your mail, when you walk the dog. Why? Because when something breaks that pattern, someone needs to notice. Edna, another neighbor, waved to her mailman every morning for years. Then one day, she didn't. He knocked. No answer. He called her daughter. Turns out Edna had fallen the night before and couldn't reach the phone. That knock saved her life, because someone was paying attention. Next up is something older folks rarely talk about, but it's more common than you think: hoarding. Not in the extreme way you see on TV, but little by little, holding on to every magazine, every expired jar of pickles, every broken lamp just in case. But clutter becomes a minefield, a hazard. It confuses the mind and crowds the body. Edna had paths carved out through her living room like a maze. After her fall, her daughter cleared it all. You could see the windows again. The light came in. So did peace. Then there's emotional isolation, the kind you can't see. You go through something painful, like the anniversary of your spouse's death, and tell yourself to be strong. But silence has a way of amplifying sorrow. Seniors often convince themselves not to talk about their grief, thinking they're being a burden. But letting those feelings fester? That's what really weighs you down. Whether it's a friend, a pastor, or your dog, Find someone to talk to. Don't let your sadness sit alone in the dark. Let's switch gears. Technology. Yep, we're going there. Never stop learning just enough to protect yourself. You don't have to be a genius, but you should know how to spot a scam. A message says your account is locked. Don't click. A caller says they're from the IRS. Hang up. Henry, a retired school teacher, once gave a scammer his bank info because the man sounded so polite. He lost thousands. Now he goes to a tech class once a month. Not to keep up with the kids, just to keep from getting fooled. Now let's talk about something people rarely consider vital. Your feet. Sore feet? That's not just a nuisance. That's a trip hazard. If you can't feel the floor, if your toenails are too long, if your shoes don't fit right, you're just one misstep away from an ambulance ride. Roger always said his slippers were his secret weapon. Good tread, no slipping, no nonsense. He even kept an extra pair at the front door for visitors. If my guests fall, he said, they're not getting sympathy, just new slippers. And while we're on the topic of connection, here's a rule. Speak to one real person every week, in person if possible, or on the phone. We're not built to live in isolation. Our hearts shrink without human touch. Edna started calling her niece every Saturday, just 15 minutes. But that tiny ritual changed her week. I don't get lonely, she said, because I know someone's waiting for my voice. Another thing older folks sometimes neglect is the home setup. Those throw rugs in the hallway? Cute, but deadly. That coffee maker on the top shelf? Tempting fate. You want your life arranged for safety, not style. Roger labeled his kitchen drawers with big, bold letters. Spoons, knives, medication. When his daughter asked why, he said, in case I forget, or in case someone else needs to find something quick. Smart, right? Make your homework for you, not against you. Finally, for this part at least, there's the gut feeling. That strange sensation in your belly that something's off. A weird sound at night. A new neighbor who gives you a funny look. A little pain in your side that's been there for a few days. Don't ignore it. Ever. You've made it this far in life because you know yourself. If it feels wrong, it probably is. Call someone. Say something. Get it checked. The only wrong move is doing nothing. You've already seen how small habits can quietly chip away at your safety, your strength, even your sanity. But there's more. Subtle mistakes that, if we're honest, most of us don't even think twice about. Until something happens. Until the loneliness creeps in. Until a scare shakes you awake. So here's one that catches many people off guard. Never let your medications become a guessing game. You miss one day, then two. Then you can't remember if you took it or not. So you just skip it, hoping for the best. Or worse, you double dose. That's how Harold ended up in the ER. His vision went blurry while watching television, and he couldn't remember if he'd taken his blood pressure pills twice that day. A pill organizer changed his life. 7 days, labeled and clear. One look, and you know where you stand. You'd be surprised how many emergencies start with a simple, I think I forgot. Another mistake? Closing the curtains and forgetting to let the light in. Sunlight does more than warm a room. It tells your body it's time to wake up. It lifts your mood, boosts vitamin D, and even helps regulate sleep. I met a woman named Judith who battled depression for 3 months before her doctor asked a simple question. Are you getting outside at all? She wasn't, not even to the porch. Now she opens her blinds the moment she gets up. Even just 10 minutes on the steps with a cup of tea makes a difference. The dark can swallow a house whole if you let it. So don't let it. And while we're on the subject of sleep, don't assume poor sleep is just part of aging. It's not. Tossing and turning all night isn't something to shrug off. It affects memory, mood, even your balance. You wake up groggy, and you're more likely to stumble. If you find yourself awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, do something about it. Turn off screens an hour before bed. Keep a sleep journal. And if nothing helps, talk to your doctor. Sleep is not a luxury. It's survival. Let's talk driving. Specifically, the trap of refusing to give it up even when you know it's time. Most people think giving up driving is the same as giving up freedom. But continuing to drive when your reflexes have slowed or your vision's weakened, that's not freedom. That's risk. One woman, Marion, had a fender bender in a parking lot. No one was hurt. But it shook her. She realized she'd been holding on to her keys like they were proof of her independence. Instead of resisting change, she asked her niece to help her figure out rides, a community shuttle, a neighbor's teenage son, even a local church group. Turns out, she gained more freedom when she let go of the wheel, because now she doesn't drive in fear. Here's a surprising one. Don't wear the wrong shoes in your own home. Sounds silly, right? But socks with no grip, floppy slippers, or bare feet on tile floors? That's a recipe for disaster. Roger, yes, him again, swore by a rule he called grip and zip. If it doesn't grip the floor and zip onto your foot, it doesn't belong in your house. Shoes that slide off or twist mid-step are sneaky enemies, so don't let style or habit win. Go for safety. Your hips will thank you. Here's a deeply personal one that nobody likes to talk about. Don't pretend intimacy is off limits just because you're older. Physical touch, affection, and yes, even romance, don't expire at 70. But isolation makes it easy to think it's behind you. Marion met a widower in her art class. They started having coffee together, then walks, then more. She told me, "At first I felt silly, like teenagers. But why should love stop just because we've lived a long time? Let yourself feel again. Loneliness doesn't protect your dignity. Connection does." Now back to the physical. Do not forget hydration. Water. It sounds too simple to matter, but it does. Dehydration sneaks up faster the older you get. It messes with your energy, your digestion, even your mood. And worst of all, it makes falls more likely because it lowers your blood pressure and balance. Set alarms if you have to. Get a bottle with times marked on it. Even juice or herbal tea counts. Don't wait to feel thirsty. By then, you're already behind. Let's talk bathrooms. Specifically, don't make your bathroom a trap. High tub walls, slippery tiles, low toilet seats, they turn everyday habits into obstacles. Edna had a terrifying moment trying to step into her bathtub. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and she froze. Couldn't lift herself. Couldn't call for help. It was 30 minutes before she got out safely. Grab bars, non-slip mats, a raised toilet seat. These aren't luxuries. They're your safety net. Don't wait until something happens. Do it now, while you're still strong enough to install them. Here's one that catches people by surprise. Don't stop touching your own things. I mean it. Open that drawer of old letters. Flip through those photo albums. Touching your memories is how you keep them alive. When people live alone, it's easy to stop engaging with the past. But the past is part of who you are. Keep it close. Tell your stories. Label your pictures. Write down the names of people in old photos. One day, someone will thank you for it. Don't say yes out of guilt. That's another trap. Your adult children want you to babysit for the 5th time this week. Your neighbor wants you to watch their cat again even though it stressed you out last time. Saying yes all the time doesn't make you helpful. It makes you invisible. Set boundaries. I love you, but not today. That's not selfish. That's sacred. It protects your peace and teaches others to respect it too. And finally, don't forget your laugh. Living alone can quiet the room, but it shouldn't quiet your spirit. Laugh at silly things. Watch old comedies. Call that one friend who always tells the worst jokes. Laughter keeps you light, keeps your chest from tightening too much around the heart, keeps you from forgetting that joy doesn't require company. It only requires permission. So, to the older person living alone, know this: your life isn't behind you. It's happening right now, in real time. And every choice, every small step, every new habit you create can build a life that's not just safe, but rich. You are allowed to thrive, not just survive. If any of these reminders hit close to home, maybe it's time to make a list. Not of things to fear, but of things to fix. Today, before they become bigger problems, before someone else has to fix them for you. And if this helped or made you nod even once, then take one more small step. Subscribe, not because it helps the channel, but because it helps you stay in the loop. And if you've made it this far, you clearly care about making the most of your life. Plus, I hear the people who subscribe are the kind of folks who always remember to change their light bulbs. So go on, change the bulb, change the habit, change the story.